Hi everybody, Desmo here. In today's video, I'm gonna explain what is trade, how to trade, and everything you need to know about trading. To begin with, what you should know is that trading is one of the most important aspects of passive exile. Here you have the list of every aspect of the trade that I want to speak about today. I will start with the most basic aspect of the trade, and as we go deeper into the video, I will speak about the more complex aspect of the trade. So to begin with, what is trade and how does it work? So here I have a footage of my last trade. How it works is like, as you can see on the bottom of the screen, I received a message with a linked item which is listed on my stash. So when that happens, I'm gonna invite the player into my party to be able to trade with him. After I invite the player, he is going to be able to join my party. Then I'm gonna go to my stash and look for the item that he wants. You get the reference on the message that you receive to the item that the player wants to trade. So it's very easy to find the item. And once you go to the tab where the item is listed, the item is highlighted with the purple square. So you pick the item, you put it in your inventory. And then what you want to do, you want to click on the blue icon on the player's portrait to join his area to be able to trade with him. So no matter where the player is, you're gonna be able to join him, except if he's in an area in the campaign and you have a character where you are not as much advanced as him. This is him which is going to have to go to you. And this is what happened for this trade. This player was at a level lower than mine, so this is why I went to him. Then, once you are on the same area, you will be able to right-click on the portrait of the player to be able to trade. Then you can just control left-click to your item to automatically place it on the trade window, or you can just grab it with your left-click and put it yourself. But this is just faster to control left-click. Then you have to hover over the item that the player is offering, because you are supposed to always check the item you are trading. You cannot just accept right away. You need to check the item to avoid scamming. So this is what I do. This is exactly the price that I set for the item, and then you accept the trade. And after trading, usually you say thank you. So that was for how the trades work. But how do you send a message and how do you look for items in passive exile? You have a trade website. So let's go to the trade website. I will put a link in the description of the video to the trade website. So here we have the interface for the trade. Let's explore it a bit. The first thing that we need to talk about is that there is two main parts of the trade website. The first one is the search listed items, and the second one is the bulk item exchange. The first one is dedicated to buy items, like weapons or armors, gloves and gears. The second one is dedicated to currencies, and we will come back to this one later. Below that, you have a text box. This one, you can pretty much search for anything in the game, even currencies. Even though it's preferable to use the bulk item exchange, you can look for currencies as well in this section. So let's say you want a bow, you can look for a bow like that. And then on the bottom you have all items with the character corresponding to a search, and then you can click enter and you're gonna see all the item with this name listed on the website. But this is not usually the way we want to look for an item. So let's explore a bit further. What do we have? The first filter is the type filter, and when you visit the website, by default this is the only filter that is going to show up. Also notice that you have another one on the right, which is the most important one in the website, but I will focus on this one at the end of the list. Let's see before what we have. So on the filter type you have the item category, and here you have every item category in the game. So let's say you are looking for a ring, you select ring here. And then below that, you have the item rarity. In passive exile, you have normal, magic, rare, unique. This is all the rarity that you can have for an item. There's the specific one here, but we will not talk about the foil, because this is a very special kind of alter illustration for the item. This is not something that we need to talk about, and I think they are not even available as right now in passive exile 2. And then you have the non-unique filter, which is also good if you are looking for any item in the game, just not the unique ones. Then you have the item level. The item level is going to be useful much later if you're a new player, because the item level defines which tiers of modifier you can have on an item. Let me clarify with an example. Let's say you have cold resistance on an item. There's different tier for that modifier, and according to the tier, it's going to be more or less powerful. As you can see on the boots here, we have tier 3 for the cold resistance, which gives 20 cold resistance. It goes from 16 to 20. And on the shield here, we have the same modifier, which is cold resistance, but it only goes from 6 to 10 because it's tier 1. So the higher the tier, the more powerful they are. Then the next filter is the equipment filter. Here you can filter by damage, attack speed, critical chance, damage per second, physical DPS, elemental DPS, and then for the armor items, you can filter by armor, evasion, energy shield, block, spirit, and empty rune socket. So the empty rune socket is the new thing that we have in Path of Exile 2, and this is the sockets that you have on your gears. I am going to turn off the webcam for the rest of the video to make sure that you can see the website properly. So the next filter is the Waystone filter. This one is basically for people who were playing Path of Exile 1, the map filter. The Waystone is items that you drop in endgame to be able to go beyond the campaign. You will be able to explore new areas, and these areas you unlock them by dropping items that you can open and explore the new territories. Then you have the miscellaneous filter. You have the gem level, so this is for your skills. The gem socket, which is the number of sockets that you can have to support your skills. The area level, so this is for the Waystone. The stack size, which is for the currency item, how many stack of an item you have. If the item is identified, or if it's corrupted, or if it's mirrored, or if it is an alternate art. I'm not gonna talk about the last two on the bottom because it's a bit too advanced. And the last trade filter is the trade filter. The first one is the seller account. You can search by player account name. Then you have collapse listing by account, which you can set to yes or no, but you will probably never use that. The next one is listed. This is to filter by time and to put a limitation on the item that you want to see. Because sometimes there's player listing items and they just forget about them and they are never trading them. So if an item is listed for over a week, this is likely that the player is never gonna sell the item. So you might want to put a filter for how long an item has been listed to avoid to whisper to people that are not actually going to trade. Then you have the sell type. The sell type is basically if an item has a price or not. When you are in game and you have items in your stash, you can put a price on a tab globally, or you can list an item for a specific price, just like that. But you can also put an item on the public tab, like that. And if you put an item here, like my flask, it is going to be listed on the trade website, but it's not going to have a price. So you can look for this kind of item as well. It's very useful when there's a lack of availability for an item. If you don't find an item with a listed price, you may want to try to find a similar item with no listed price. And at the bottom, we have the buyout price. This one is useful if you want to trade for a particular currency that you have. Let's say you have a lot of Exalted Orb, then you might want to trade for Exalted Orb only. So you can select that, and then you can select the minimum of the maximum amount of currency that you want to spend on an item. Let's say you have 10 Exalted Orb, so you can put a limit for the price to be a maximum of 10 Exalted Orb. On the contrary, if you want to have only like a certain limit of expensive item, you can put a minimum like 5 Exalted Orb, so you will not have cheaper items. Now let's speak about the most important part of the trade website. This is the start filter. Here you can look for modifiers on your items. Let me remind you what are the modifiers. If you take the gloves here, I have as a modifier 15% increased evasion rating, lightning damage to attack, life, mana, fire resistance, and life gain per enemy on hit with attack. So let's say, as an example, I want to get better gloves for my build. I would go in the website and search for gloves first. Then, since I need evasion rating for my build, I will put a restriction for the search with something like 80 evasion rating. Then, let's say I need cold resistance and fire resistance. And this is a very good moment to introduce a tool that will make your life extremely easier. This is a Chrome plugin. It's really easy to install. You just have to go to the page. I will put the link in the description. And you basically just click the icon here and it's going to be added to your Chrome browser. So what it does, it adds a tide on the beginning of every search that you do in the website. Basically, the difference is if you don't have this tool installed and you type, for instance, fire res like that, it's not gonna work because the fire is missing the E at the end. With the fuzzy search, you can type partially any name in the game and it's gonna give you a match. Like here, I just type fire res and I have fire resistance. Let's take a different name that is much longer. For instance, elemental damage with attack, which is quite long. And you see, I just typed LADAMWATT and I have a match. So this is extremely useful because sometimes there is a long list of modifier. If you type just res, you can see that there is hundreds of modifier in Path of Exile. There's implicit, explicit, suffix, prefix, you name it. There's just way too many and you can get lost very easily. So install this thing and it's gonna make your life much easier. So as I said, let's say we are looking for fire res for the globes, gold res, like that. And then let's say that I want another modifier, but I'm not sure which one I want the most. So I could click this icon, which is a group setup that you can add to your search. And you can, for instance, you can say that you want something and something, or there's something that you don't want on your glove. So you could put that, and let's say something that you don't want is physical damage to attack, like that. And then let's say there's two modifiers, but you don't know which one you want the most. So you could put a count. This one is extremely useful. So let's say I want life, like that, flat life, and maximum mana, like that. I want both of them. This is not really what I want, but this is just as an example. I want both of them, but I cannot have them both because it's going to be too expensive for me to have the perfect gloves, right? So I'm going to make a choice and just take one of them. You could put more. You can put like 10 and say, I just want 5 of the 10 that I put. You could say, I want like 4 modifiers. There is 4 that I want, but I don't know which one I want. So I just want 2 among the 4 that I have. You can do that as well. But let's just put one of the 2 here. So now that we have the search setup, we can press enter or we can press search. I press enter. And you see we have a result here with the mana, the fire, and the cold res. And we have another one with life, fire resistance, cold resistance. So there's something else we could do here, because let's say, okay, I like these gloves, but the fire resistance is too low. I need at least 12. So you can set up that right here. You can put a minimum or you can put a maximum. This is something that you could do. Same thing for the cold res. Let's say I need at least 8 cold res. And for the life, I would like to have at least 40. And for the mana, I would like to have at least 60. So let's put it like that. We press enter. And boom, we have much better gloves. With accuracy rating, something that could be good for you. So let's say we want to buy these gloves. You click direct whisper, or you can also click the little arrow on the right and make a copy whisper. I will not whisper the people to show you because I don't want to bother people, but this is how it works, and this is how I get the whisper in the beginning of the video from another player. The next thing is the items are sorted by price. So with the match that you have for your research, then the website is automatically gonna list the item by price. So we have one exalted for every one of them, and then it goes up to 2, then 3, and it goes up, and the items are supposed to be better, but not always, right? You could also list them by the most expensive. So this is the most expensive for the search that we have. But if you don't click on the price of the item, you can also click on the time. And then it's gonna list the one that is the most recently listed on the trade website. And if you click again, this is the oldest one according to your search. So this is something that is very useful. Also, sometimes when you whisper a player is not answering, you can sometimes click here. It's going to refresh the item and show you if it's still available. It can be very useful. Another very useful thing that we have here is this little magnifying glass icon. I'm going to show you that with another item. So let's say you are looking for a bow. Like me here, I have this bow, and when I looked for it, I didn't know exactly the proper name for every modifier. So let's say we want a bow, and this is something very important that is going to help you a lot, because sometimes the wording is not exactly what you think it is, and you look for a modifier and you don't have any match. So let me show you, for instance. You might not know the name of the modifier, or you might just not know what would be good with the item that you want. Like, you know a couple modifiers that you want, like attack speed and lightning damage to attack, but you don't know what could be good on top of that. So let's say we look for added lightning damage and attack speed. There we go. So this is the base for the search, but then we can improve it. You see a few items like, you know, like, yeah, okay, this is looking good, but I want something better. The first thing that you could do is to list the item by price from the most expensive to the least expensive. So you will see which items have the most valuable modifiers, and then you can copy the modifiers to look for something similar. So let's say you realize that, oh, critical hit chance is good. Mana, no, I don't really want that. But the physical also is good. So you can copy that for your item. Okay, let's take this one for instance. It's looking really, really good. You have the attack speed, the lightning, and you say, oh, the increased physical is good, but with the flat physical on top, it's extremely good. So you click the magnifying glass here, and then you have all the modifiers from the item that are popping up. So we can then shut this one down. And let's say that the life gain you don't want, the mana, same thing you don't want, and the rest of the modifiers, that they are really good, so you keep that. And then you say, okay, the flat physical I want at least 10, the lightning you want at least 20, attack speed, there's two ways that, by the way, that you can look for the attack speed. You can look it for the modifier itself here, so let's say you want at least 10%, but you could also say, okay, I want the attack per second to be at least 1.2. This is another option. You can have both of them at the same time, it doesn't matter. And then for the increased physical, let's say you want at least 50. You press enter, and then you have much better result for what you are looking for. And that brings me to the next step of the trade, which is the live search. Live search is extremely useful. It's gonna save you time and money. If you don't find what you are looking for right now, or the prices for what you are looking for is just too expensive, you can put a live search like that. And the website is gonna refresh for you all the time. You don't have to stay on the page. It's just gonna do it automatically. And as soon as there is an item that has a match for your search, it's gonna appear on the website. Also, what you could do when you are live searching, if you have only a certain amount of money, you may want to put the maximum amount of money you want to spend on the item to make sure that when you have the live search popping up, it's not something that you cannot afford. You could also put a minimum if you want. As an example here, I have a live search for Gerald's, and you see that there's the items like that. This is something extremely useful that you should do. Also, something that you might want to do, on top right of the website, you have the online only option. You could put any. If you put any and you search like that, the filter is going to show you the items that are also offline. If the market is lacking what you are looking for, searching offline as well might be useful just to see if there's something available. And now I'm gonna speak about the very last part of the video, the bulk item exchange. This one is a bit complex. I'm just gonna show you quickly what you can do here. You don't have to use everything right away. It's just for you to know what is available. So the first part of the bulk item exchange is for currencies. So this is the item that you use for crafting, the basic item for crafting. Also, the currency, you have on the left what you are looking for, item that I want, and on the right, item that I have. So let's say you want an alchemy orb, and you have to buy the alchemy, you have Exalted Orb, for instance, you click the both of them, and then you click search. And then you have the outcome. I'm gonna put online only again. And then you see on the market everything that is available from the cheapest to the most expensive. So of course you want to buy the one which is first on the list. Be careful though, people are likely not to answer when the price is the cheapest. So if you click contact, you whisper the people that are selling and they are not answering, don't spend 15 minutes to wait for them to answer, they will not. Just go to the next one, click contact, and go again and again and again to the one underneath until you have a trade. It will not work otherwise. Also, something that you may want to do when you need a large amount of item, there is the stock count. You can put a minimum of stock. Let's say, as we said, you want alchemy orbs, you put 10 as a minimum, you click search, and then the website is going to filter the players that are at least 10 alchemy orbs. Let's go back to the interface. The other parts are the fragments. So this is items usually that you use to open some special kind of areas, like endgame bosses and stuff like that. Then you have the runes. This is the item that we've seen before that you can socket into your items to make them more powerful. If we go back to the game, you can see that in my gloves, for instance, I have a rune that gives me fire resistance. The next part is the essence. The essence are other types of currency that you can use to craft with deterministic outcome. For instance, you have essences that gives you defense modifier or cold modifier or attribute modifier. Basically, this one says that if you use it on a normal item, it's gonna upgrade to magic item with an attribute modifier. They are extremely useful and very strong for crafting. Then you have the soul core. This is like the runes. This is items that you can socket into your gears to have additional modifiers on them. Then you have the bridge catalyst. The catalyst, this is items that you use to give quality to your items, like rings and amulets, and they are giving them stronger effect for their modifiers. Then you have expedition and artifacts. This is an endgame mechanic that you have in Path of Exile, which allows you to do certain type of crafting and trades. Then you have the ritual omens. This is items that drop from rituals. If you have them in your inventory, they will be automatically used when something specific happened. For instance, there is omens that are being used when you die, or there's omens that are being used when you reach low life. So this is specific situation and they are being automatically used. Then you have the delirium distillations. This is new item type that we have in Path of Exile 2. They are dropping from delirium and they are being used to anoint your amulet. So basically, anointing amulet is going to give you a node in your passive skill tree, even if you didn't allocate it. And the last one is for the waystone and tablets. So this is items that you use to open areas in the endgame. So this is pretty much it for the video. I hope it was helpful. If you have any more questions regarding trades in general, you can leave a comment. Consider liking and subscribe. And until my next video, take care of yourself and bye!